What if a penny sitting in your change jar right now could be worth far more than 1 cent? And what if the tiny detail that matters most is the one most people never even look for? Today, we're hunting for the 1981 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that has inspired some unbelievable claims about million-dollar fortunes. But before you start celebrating, there's a mystery you need to solve first, because not every 1981 penny is rare, and most are worth only a little more than face value. The 1981 Lincoln cent looks familiar. It carries Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and a small date that millions of Americans have seen without giving it a second thought. But coin collecting has taught us something important. Ordinary-looking coins can hide extraordinary stories. So if you have a 1981 penny, don't toss it aside yet. Grab a coin, turn it over, and keep your eyes open. We're going to examine the date, the mint mark, the condition, and the kinds of errors that can make a common penny much more interesting. First, let's clear up one of the biggest misunderstandings. A 1981 penny with no mint mark is not automatically a million-dollar coin. In 1981, the Philadelphia Mint produced cents without a mint mark, while Denver coins carried a D. San Francisco produced proof cents with an S. So why do people talk about a 1981 penny being worth huge money? Because rarity in coin collecting usually comes from something unusual, not simply from the year printed on the coin. A major minting error, an extraordinary condition, a recognized variety, or a remarkable provenance can transform an ordinary coin into something collectors want badly. And sometimes, internet stories take a rare coin's value and stretch it into a headline that sounds almost impossible. Here's where things get interesting. Imagine finding a 1981 penny in an old coffee can. It looks bright. The details are sharp. Lincoln's hair is clearly defined. The lettering is strong. And the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse looks almost untouched. You might think, this has to be the million-dollar penny. But stop right there. Condition matters enormously, and even a beautiful 1981 cent generally doesn't jump anywhere near $1 million simply because it looks new. Now look closer at Lincoln's portrait. Check the date. Is the 1 clear? Are the 9 and 8 properly formed? Is the final 1 complete? Move to the rim. Is it even? Look around the lettering. Do you see doubling, unusual metal movement, cracks, or missing design elements? And here's a mistake that can destroy the value of a potentially interesting coin. Cleaning it. If your penny looks dark, dull, brown, or dirty, resist the temptation to polish it. Collectors generally prefer original surfaces, and aggressive cleaning can leave scratches or an unnatural shine that lowers desirability. A coin that looks ugly to you might actually have collectible character. There's another detail you should check: the edge. Hold the coin carefully and examine its thickness. Lincoln cents from this era are copper-plated zinc, which means the metal composition is different from the copper cents made before 1982. Now let's talk about the million-dollar idea. Could a normal 1981 Philadelphia penny with no mint mark realistically be worth $1 million? No. There is no reason to assume that simply from the date and missing mint mark. A genuine million-dollar valuation would require extraordinary evidence, such as an extremely rare error or another exceptional circumstance, and it would need to be authenticated by respected experts and supported by a credible market record. Before getting excited, remember that rarity must be proven, and authentication can separate a genuine discovery from a coin with damage or wishful thinking. This is exactly why you should be careful with viral coin videos and online listings. Someone can put a penny on an auction website for $1 million, but an asking price is not the same as a sale price. Anyone can type a huge number into a listing. What matters is what qualified collectors actually paid for comparable coins. So, what should you do if your 1981 no mint mark penny looks unusual? First, don't clean it. Second, don't scrape it, scratch it, bend it, or try to make an error appear. Third, compare it with another 1981 cent if you have one. Put the coins side by side. Differences become much easier to spot when you have a normal example for comparison. Look especially for genuine mint errors. A double design can sometimes be valuable, but true doubling is different from ordinary machine doubling. A coin struck off center may attract attention if the error is significant and clearly created during the minting process. The key word is genuine. A damaged coin is not automatically an error coin. Here's a quick pattern interrupt. Imagine your penny has a strange-looking date. Before you start calculating millions, ask one simple question. Did the mint make it that way, or did something happen to the coin after it left the mint? That's the detective work. A scratch, dent, chemical stain, or altered letter may look dramatic, but it can actually hurt the value instead of increasing it. Condition is the next major piece of the puzzle. Coins are graded on a detailed scale, and small differences can have enormous effects on value. A heavily circulated 1981 cent with worn surfaces is usually far less desirable than a sharply struck, nearly flawless example. Professional grading services examine factors such as wear, marks, luster, strike quality, and overall preservation. If you believe you've found an exceptional specimen, professional authentication may be worth considering. Most 1981 no-mint mark cents are common coins. If your coin is heavily worn, damaged, scratched, or ordinary in appearance, grading it may cost more than the coin is worth. Learn to identify strong candidates first. Then consider professional evaluation when the evidence gives you a reason. Now comes the question you've been waiting for. How much could your 1981 penny actually be worth? For most ordinary circulated examples, we're talking about a coin worth around face value, with uncirculated pieces potentially bringing more depending on grade and demand. Exceptional certified examples can command significantly higher prices, but the exact value depends on condition, rarity, certification, and the marketplace. The million-dollar figure should be treated as a sensational claim, not a normal expectation. And that's actually good news. Why? Because you don't need a million-dollar price tag to have an exciting find. A valuable mint error or exceptional coin discovered in an old collection can still be a fantastic result. Think about how many pennies pass through American hands every day. Most are ordinary, but collectors know that every coin has a story, and some stories become valuable when the right detail is discovered. So take another look at your 1981 penny. Is there a D, an S, or no mint mark? Is the coin worn, or does it look remarkably sharp? Does the strike look normal? Is there genuine doubling? Is the rim intact? Does anything appear clearly different from another 1981 cent? If you notice something strange, document it, compare it, and get an expert opinion when appropriate. And here's the biggest lesson. The words "no mint mark" are not a magic password to a fortune. The real treasure is knowledge. Once you understand dates, mint marks, errors, varieties, composition, and grading, you stop looking at pennies as pocket change and start looking at them as historical objects with clues. Maybe your 1981 Lincoln penny is worth only a cent. Maybe it's a better quality collector coin. Maybe you've discovered a genuine mint error that deserves professional attention. You won't know until you look closely. So check your coin jar tonight. Check the old envelopes. Check the drawer where loose change disappears. And if you find a 1981 Lincoln cent with something unusual, take a clear photo and compare every detail before making a decision. Because the next time you hear someone say, "It's just a penny," remember this. Sometimes the smallest coins can hide the biggest mysteries. If you enjoy uncovering the secrets behind America's old coins, subscribe and stay with us. There are plenty more dates, errors, varieties, and overlooked coins waiting to be examined. And who knows? The next strange-looking penny you pull from your pocket might be the one that makes you stop and look twice. What if a 1-cent coin sitting in your drawer right now could be hiding a fortune? Before you spend that 1993 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark, stop. Because one unusual detail could make an ordinary-looking coin far more interesting than its 1-cent face value. Today, we're looking at the 1993 D Lincoln cent, a coin millions of Americans have probably handled without giving it a second thought. But there's a reason collectors still inspect these pennies carefully. We're going to uncover what makes a 1993 D penny collectible, which mistakes can destroy its value, what errors to search for, and where the million-dollar story really comes from. First, take a breath and look at the date, 1993. Then look underneath it, near the right side of Lincoln's portrait. See that little D? That means the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. And here's the first surprise. Simply having a D does not make this penny worth $1 million. The real mystery is what else may be hiding on the coin. The 1993 D Lincoln cent was made for everyday commerce. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It is a copper-plated zinc cent, not one of the valuable old copper pennies from the early 20th century. If you find one in your pocket, its normal value is usually just 1 cent. Even nice examples generally do not become enormously valuable merely because they are from 1993. So why do videos and posts sometimes claim that a 1993 D penny can be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even $1 million? This is where many people get confused. Rare coin values are not created by the date alone. They depend on condition, rarity, demand, authentication, and especially whether the coin has a genuine mint error or an unusual variety. Imagine two 1993 D pennies sitting side by side. They were made in the same year at the same mint and carry the same design. One might be worth a cent. The other could attract serious collector attention if it contains a dramatic, authenticated error. That tiny difference is the entire game. So what should you look for? Start with the mint mark. Confirm that you actually have a D, and make sure it has not been altered or added. Then inspect the entire coin under good light. You are not looking for dirt. You are looking for something the minting process may have done incorrectly. Check Lincoln's portrait. Look around the date. Inspect the lettering. Then flip the coin and study the Lincoln Memorial, the words United States of America, 1 cent, and E pluribus unum. Now comes the part many casual collectors miss. A damaged coin is not automatically an error coin. If your penny has scratches, dents, discoloration, flattening, or damage from machines, parking lots, tools, or chemicals, those problems usually do not increase its value. In fact, they can reduce it. A genuine mint error is different because the unusual feature happened during production. For example, collectors may encounter errors involving double design elements, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, wrong planchets, or other striking abnormalities. But every supposed error needs careful examination. What looks like doubling can actually be machine damage or ordinary wear. What looks like a strange edge can simply be damage that happened years after the coin left the mint. And that brings us to one of the biggest traps in the entire rare coin world. The internet loves spectacular numbers. You may see a headline saying, 1993 D penny worth $1 million. That headline can make you grab every penny in the house. But a headline is not proof of a sale. An actual $1 million valuation would require extraordinary evidence. You would want professional authentication, a documented auction result or credible market evidence, and a clear explanation of exactly what makes that particular coin exceptional. Without that evidence, treat the $1 million claim as a possibility being advertised, not as the normal value of a 1993 D penny. Still, that does not mean you should ignore your coin. Quite the opposite. The fun of collecting comes from finding the unusual piece that everyone else overlooked. Now imagine you open an old jar of change. Pennies spill across the table. You notice a 1993 D. It looks ordinary. You almost toss it back into the jar. Then you notice something strange near Lincoln's ear. You turn the coin. The lettering seems unusual. You grab a magnifying glass. Suddenly, that boring penny becomes a mystery. Condition is another major factor. A heavily circulated 1993 D cent with scratches and worn details is unlikely to command much attention. But a sharply preserved coin with strong details, attractive surfaces, and minimal marks can be more desirable, especially when combined with a legitimate variety or error. But there is an important warning. Do not clean the coin. This mistake happens all the time. Someone finds an old-looking penny and thinks, if I polish this, it will look brand new. Unfortunately, cleaning can leave scratches, remove original surfaces, and hurt collector value. A coin with natural surfaces is usually far more desirable than one that has been scrubbed until it shines. So, what could actually make a 1993 D penny valuable? The strongest possibilities involve rare, verified errors or varieties, exceptional condition, or unusual circumstances that make the individual coin scarce. The key word is individual. Not every 1993 D penny is valuable. Not every shiny 1993 D penny is rare. And definitely not every 1993 D penny is worth $1 million. But one genuine error can change the conversation. That is why you should inspect the details instead of trusting a simple date and mint mark list. Here's another pattern interrupt. Take your phone out right now. Open the camera and zoom in on the date, mint mark, lettering, and edges of your 1993 D penny. Sometimes the naked eye misses details that become obvious under magnification. Look especially for unusual doubling, major misalignment, missing design elements, strange shapes, or evidence that the coin was struck on the wrong type of planchet. Then compare what you see with reliable numismatic references rather than random social media posts. And if something truly unusual appears, resist the urge to celebrate too early. Get a second opinion. A reputable coin dealer or professional grading service can help determine whether the feature is a real mint error, a known variety, or simply damage. Now let's talk about the million-dollar question. Could a 1993 Lincoln cent really make you a millionaire? In theory, an extraordinary coin can command extraordinary money. But there is no good reason to assume that a normal 1993 cent is worth anything close to $1 million. Claims like that should always be verified against documented sales and professional numismatic evidence. The real opportunity is not believing every sensational number. The real opportunity is learning how to recognize the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary one. And that skill can be worth far more than a single penny. And that is why checking your change can be exciting. You are not searching for a miracle, you are searching for evidence. And now I want to hear from you. Do you have a 1993 Lincoln penny in your collection? An old jar, a drawer, or a box of loose change? Have you ever found a strange-looking penny and wondered whether it was valuable? Tell me what you found. Because the next coin you pull from your pocket may look completely ordinary at first glance. But sometimes the smallest details are where the biggest mysteries begin. And remember, the goal is not to believe every million-dollar coin story you see online. The goal is to become smart enough to know when a coin deserves a closer look. So check your change, protect your coins, never clean a potentially valuable piece, and always verify extraordinary claims with reliable evidence. There could be a fascinating discovery waiting in a coin you have already overlooked. Subscribe for more rare coin mysteries, hidden treasures, and the tiny details that can make ordinary pocket change worth a second look today. What if the ordinary 2006 Lincoln penny sitting in your pocket right now looks completely normal, but one tiny detail could change the way you see it forever? Before you spend that penny, look at the date, look at the mint mark area, and stay with me because the biggest surprise about the 2006 no mint mark penny is not what most viral videos claim. It is what collectors actually look for when deciding whether a modern cent is ordinary, collectible, or truly unusual. If you have a 2006 Lincoln cent with no letter under the date, you may have noticed something interesting. There is no D. There is no S. Just the year 2006 and Lincoln's portrait. That can sound mysterious, especially when you hear stories about pennies supposedly worth hundreds of thousands or even $1 million. But here is where things get important. A 2006 penny without a mint mark is normally a Philadelphia mint coin, and millions of them were made. So the missing letter by itself does not make your penny $1 million coin. That is why careful observation matters. A real difference can be more important than the age, color, or story attached to the coin. Wait, don't put it back in the jar yet, because there is still a reason collectors examine these coins carefully. The real mystery is whether your 2006 cent has something unusual that most examples do not. And that is where a normal-looking penny can become much more interesting. The 2006 Lincoln cent was part of the famous Memorial Reverse era. Lincoln appears on the front, while the Lincoln Memorial appears on the back. The coin is small, lightweight, and made with a copper-colored outer layer over a zinc core. And because the Philadelphia Mint produced an enormous number of 2006 cents without a mint mark, most ordinary examples are worth about 1 cent in circulation. That sounds disappointing, right? Not so fast. This is where many people make their first mistake. They see a 2006 penny with no mint mark and assume the missing letter is an error. It is not. Philadelphia cents traditionally carry no mint mark. So if your 2006 penny has no D or S, that feature is expected. But now comes the part worth checking. Turn the coin over. Look carefully at the lettering around the Lincoln Memorial. Examine the date and inscriptions under strong light. You are looking for unusual doubling, distorted letters, strange shapes, missing details, cracks, die marks, or other characteristics that do not match a normal coin. And do not use a pocket knife to scrape the surface. Do not polish it. Do not clean it with chemicals. A cleaned coin can lose collector appeal, and once you damage the original surface, you cannot simply undo it. Here is another pattern interrupt. Grab a magnifying glass if you have one. Now look at the date. Are the numbers sharp and normal, or do any of them appear to show extra outlines or unusual separation? Genuine double die varieties are created during the die-making process and can show distinctive forms of doubling. Ordinary machine damage or post-mint scratches can look dramatic too, but they usually do not have the same characteristics. Next, inspect the word Liberty. Then check In God We Trust. Then move to the reverse and study 1 cent, United States of America, and the lettering around the memorial. You are not looking for a random scratch. You are looking for a repeatable feature that makes sense as part of the striking process. Condition matters. Imagine 2 identical 2006 pennies. One has been rolling around in someone's pocket for years, with scratches, dark spots, and worn surfaces. The other looks almost untouched, with brilliant original color and extremely clean surfaces. They may have the same date, same mint, and same basic design, but collectors can treat them very differently. That is why professional grading exists. A grading service evaluates a coin's condition and authenticity and assigns it a grade. For modern Lincoln cents, extremely high grades can be much harder to achieve than simply finding an uncirculated-looking coin. Tiny marks that you can barely see may keep a coin from reaching the highest levels. So now imagine you find a 2006 no-mint mark cent that looks almost perfect. Would that make you a millionaire? No. And this is the reveal that viral headlines often leave out. A normal 2006 Philadelphia cent is not a $1 million coin. The absence of a mint mark is not a hidden $1 million error. Claims like that should immediately make you slow down and verify the information. But that does not mean your search is pointless. Far from it. The exciting part is that exceptional modern Lincoln cents can bring surprising prices when they combine outstanding condition with genuine collector interest. Some certified 2006 cents have sold for far more than face value, showing that even a modern penny can become collectible when the right combination of grade and quality comes together. Now let's talk about the $1 million question. What would a 2006 penny actually need to become extraordinarily valuable? It would likely require something far beyond simply having no mint mark. We are talking about a dramatic, authenticated mint error, an extremely rare variety, or some extraordinary circumstance that makes the individual coin exceptionally scarce. And even then, a seller cannot simply announce a $1 million value. The coin would need strong evidence, expert authentication, and a real market willing to pay that amount. That last part matters. A coin is not worth a huge number because someone posts a picture online and types a huge number beside it. Value comes from what comparable coins have actually sold for, how rare the feature is, how many examples are known, and what serious collectors are willing to pay. So if someone tells you that every 2006 no-mint mark penny is worth $1 million, be careful. That claim can cost you more than the penny itself. And here is one final mistake to avoid. Do not assume that every coin with unusual damage is a mint error. A coin can be scratched, bent, stained, chemically altered, exposed to heat, or damaged by machines after leaving the mint. Those things can make a penny look strange without making it rare. True mint errors happen during production. That distinction is incredibly important. So, if you have a 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, what should you do? First, keep the coin in its original condition. Second, inspect both sides under good lighting. Third, compare suspicious features with images of known varieties. Fourth, if something looks genuinely unusual, consider having the coin examined by a reputable numismatist or professional grading service before making any big claims about its value. And remember, you do not need a $1 million coin to have a fun discovery. The thrill is in the hunt. Every jar of change is a tiny treasure hunt. Every old coin tells a story, and every unusual mark gives you a reason to look closer. So now I want you to do something. Check your change. Check your old coin jars. Check the pennies sitting in your car, desk, kitchen drawer, or forgotten coffee cup. If you find a 2006 penny with no mint mark, do not panic, and do not assume you just found $1 million. Instead, ask the better question. Does this coin have something genuinely unusual that makes it different from the billions of ordinary cents produced around that era? Because that is where the real treasure hunt begins. And who knows? Maybe your 2006 penny is completely ordinary. Maybe it is an unusually beautiful high-grade example. Or maybe you will notice a genuine variety or mint error that deserves a professional opinion. The point is simple: look before you spend. That tiny penny may not be the million-dollar jackpot that internet rumors promise, but it can still teach you something incredibly valuable about how rare coins are discovered. And if you enjoy finding hidden stories and unexpected value in ordinary American coins, stick around. There are plenty of pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and half-dollars hiding in plain sight, and some of their secrets are far more surprising than you might expect. Before you leave, take one last look at that 2006 penny. The date, the mint mark area, the lettering, the surfaces, the condition. 5 seconds of careful inspection could tell you more than years of casually spending loose change. And if you discover something unusual, do not clean it, do not alter it, and do not rush to sell it. Take a clear photo, compare it carefully, and get a knowledgeable opinion. Because in coin collecting, the biggest mistake is not missing a million-dollar coin. It is throwing away something interesting before you ever realize what you found. Subscribe for more hidden coin mysteries, rare US coins, and simple ways to recognize the pieces worth taking a second look at. Your next great discovery could be sitting at the bottom of a coin jar right now. What if the ordinary 2007 Lincoln penny sitting in your change jar right now is hiding a detail that collectors would pay serious money to find? Before you spend another one, look closely, because that tiny 1-cent coin may have a story worth far more than its face value, and the biggest mistake you can make is assuming every 2007 penny is just 1 cent. Today, we're taking a close look at the 2007 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, the coin many people overlook because it looks completely ordinary. You'll learn what the missing mint mark really means, which unusual features can turn a common penny into a collectible, what mistakes can destroy its value, and why internet claims about million-dollar pennies need a very careful second look. And stay with me, because near the end, I'll show you exactly what to check before you put a 2007 penny back into circulation. Let's start with the detail that causes the most confusion: the missing mint mark. Turn over a 2007 Lincoln cent, look beneath the date, and you may see absolutely nothing. No P, no D, no S. At first, that can look like an error. It isn't. For regular circulation cents struck at the Philadelphia Mint, a missing mint mark is normal. Philadelphia traditionally produced many United States coins without a mint letter, and the 2007 Lincoln cent is one of them. So if your 2007 penny has no mint mark, don't throw away your wallet and start planning a mansion just yet. But don't put it back in the jar either. The reason is simple. A coin can be common by date and still become interesting when something unusual happened during production. Collectors look for genuine mint errors, dramatic die varieties, exceptional condition, and unusual characteristics that can separate one coin from millions of ordinary examples. And that brings us to the mystery. Imagine two 2007 pennies sitting side by side. Both say Liberty. Both show Abraham Lincoln. Both have the same date. Both have no mint mark. To an untrained eye, they're twins. But what if one has a major mint error? Suddenly, the two coins can have completely different stories. The first thing to check is the strike. A normal penny should show clear lettering, strong details, and a properly formed design. If the coin looks unusually weak, distorted, doubled, or oddly shaped, slow down. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't scrape it. Put it somewhere safe and examine it under good lighting. Here's a pattern that fools beginners all the time. Something that looks like doubling is not automatically a valuable double die. Coins can develop scratches, machine doubling, die deterioration, or damage after leaving the mint. These can create strange-looking letters and numbers. Under magnification, the difference can become easier to see, but identification still requires experience. Now look at the edge. Most people stare at the front and back of a coin and completely ignore the edge. That can be a mistake. If the design is shifted, the shape is unusual, or the edge looks abnormal, slow down and investigate. And here's where the story gets even more exciting. Suppose you discover that your penny is dramatically off-center, while the date remains visible. That is the kind of mistake collectors notice. The farther the design is shifted, especially when the error is obvious and genuine, the more interesting the coin can become. But there's a catch. Damage caused after the coin left the mint is not the same thing as a mint error. A coin crushed by machinery, scratched on concrete, heated, drilled, painted, or altered at home does not magically become a rare error coin. This is where many people get confused. A real mint error happened during manufacturing. Post-mint damage happened later. That distinction can make the difference between a collectible and an ordinary damaged penny. Now let's talk about condition. A 2007 cent that spent years bouncing around inside pockets, cash registers, cup holders, and coin jars can show scratches, stains, dents, and wear. But a coin preserved with sharp details, bright original surfaces, and minimal contact marks can be far more desirable to collectors. This doesn't mean every shiny 2007 penny is valuable. In fact, cleaning can make things worse. If you find a potentially valuable coin, never polish it with household cleaner, baking soda, toothpaste, metal polish, or anything else designed to make it shine. Collectors generally prefer original surfaces, and cleaning can leave permanent hairline scratches that reduce desirability. Now comes the question everyone wants answered. Could a 2007 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny really be worth $1 million? Here's the honest answer. There is no established basis for saying that an ordinary 2007 Philadelphia cent is $1 million coin. A normal example is generally a common modern penny, not a guaranteed fortune. So why do people keep hearing about million-dollar pennies? Because spectacular errors, famous rarities, and record-setting coins create headlines. Sometimes online videos mix a real record with the wrong date, wrong mint mark, or a completely different variety. A dramatic title gets clicks, but the coin in the story may not be the coin in your hand. And that is exactly why you should never value your penny based on a headline alone. The smartest collectors know that patience matters. A genuine discovery can be exciting, but careful verification is what turns excitement into confidence before any sale. Instead, investigate the evidence. Check the date. Check the mint mark or absence of one. Check the weight if you have an accurate digital scale. Examine the diameter and thickness. Look at the edge. Inspect Lincoln's portrait and the lettering. Then compare your coin with reliable references or ask a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service for an expert opinion. Now imagine this scenario. You're cleaning out an old jar of coins. You find a 2007 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. You almost toss it aside because you've heard that no mint mark means rare. But then you notice something. The coin is sharply off-center. You check the date and it's still readable. The edge looks unusual. The weight raises another question. Now you have something worth investigating. The value comes from what happened to that particular coin and how rare, genuine, and desirable that characteristic is. And sometimes the biggest surprise isn't $1 million payday. Sometimes it's discovering that a coin you ignored for years is a legitimate collectible worth much more than 1 cent. So grab your change jar and start looking. Find every 2007 Lincoln cent you can. Put the no mint mark examples aside. Then compare them carefully. Look for major errors, unusual shapes, dramatic off-center strikes, clipped planchets, doubled features that appear genuine, and exceptional condition. But remember, don't clean them. Don't scratch them. Don't try to manufacture an error. And don't trust a giant price tag without proof. If you think you've found something unusual, take clear photos of both sides, the edge and the date area. Weigh the coin accurately if possible, and get a second opinion before selling it. Now I want to know what's sitting in your collection. Have you ever found a 2007 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that looked different from the others? Did you notice an unusual edge, strange doubling, an off-center strike, or something else that made you stop and wonder? Tell me about it, because your little penny might have a story worth investigating. And remember the biggest lesson. A 2007 no mint mark Lincoln cent is normally just what it appears to be, a Philadelphia minted circulation coin. But coins are made by machines, and machines can make mistakes. When a genuine, significant error survives into circulation, that ordinary-looking penny can suddenly become a collector's discovery. So the next time someone tells you that every 2007 penny without a mint mark is worth $1 million, don't believe it blindly. Look closer. Check the evidence. And never assume the smallest coin in your pocket is worthless until you know what you're holding. Because sometimes, hidden value isn't hiding behind a giant number on a screen. It's hiding in one tiny detail you almost missed. Keep searching, keep learning, and before you spend that next penny, take one more look. You might not find $1 million coin, but you could find something rare, genuine, and surprisingly valuable. And if you enjoy uncovering the hidden stories behind ordinary American coins, subscribe and stay with us. There are plenty more pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters out there waiting to be examined. And the next unusual coin could already be sitting in your pocket. Imagine finding a 2009 D Lincoln penny in your pocket and discovering that one tiny detail could make collectors stop everything. Before you spend another penny, look closely because the 2009 Lincoln cent may deserve a second look. Today, we're examining the 2009 Lincoln penny with the Denver mint mark, the little d beneath the date. Most examples are common and worth only face value. But some coins can become much more interesting when unusual errors, striking problems, exceptional condition, or overlooked varieties enter the picture. Picture this. You're cleaning out an old jar of change when one penny catches your eye. It says 2009. You notice the small d. What if something unusual is hiding in plain sight? Don't jump to the $1 million number yet. That's exactly where coin collecting gets misunderstood. A regular 2009 D penny is not automatically worth a fortune. In fact, millions of ordinary cents from this era are still around. The key is separating an ordinary coin from an exceptional one. So let's start with the basics. The 2009 Lincoln cent was a special year in American coin history because it marked the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the 100th anniversary of the Lincoln cent. Instead of using the familiar reverse from earlier years, the United States Mint released 4 different reverse designs during 2009. Each design represented a different period of Lincoln's life. That means a 2009 penny isn't just another date. It is a piece of a major Lincoln cent anniversary. Now look at your coin's front. You should see Abraham Lincoln facing right, the word Liberty, the date 2009, and on a Denver issue, a small D mint mark. The D identifies the Denver Mint. Here's your first pattern interrupt. Grab a penny if you have one nearby. Turn it over. Which of the 4 2009 reverse designs do you have? The answer matters because the reverse can tell you which stage of Lincoln's life your coin represents. The 4 designs depict Lincoln's birth and early childhood in Kentucky, his years as a young man in Indiana, his professional life in Illinois, and his presidency in Washington, D.C. But here's where things get interesting. A collector doesn't simply look at the year and mint mark. They examine the entire coin. Start with the strike. Are the letters sharp? Are Lincoln's details clear? Does anything look doubled, distorted, missing, or unusually positioned? Then inspect the surfaces for scratches, stains, dents, wear, or original mint luster. Now check the edges. Errors aren't always obvious from the front. A genuine mint error can create unusual differences in shape, lettering, placement, or metal. But damage that happened after the coin left the mint is not the same thing as a mint error. A coin flattened by a machine, scratched by another coin, exposed to chemicals, or intentionally altered may look strange. But strange does not automatically mean valuable. This is one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. They see something unusual and immediately assume jackpot. Don't. A valuable coin needs evidence. And when people online throw around claims that a 2009 D penny could be worth $1 million, you should be especially careful. A normal 2009 D Lincoln cent is not a $1 million coin. There is no reason to believe that simply having the D mint mark makes it worth anywhere close to that amount. So why do these giant numbers appear? Because rare coins with extraordinary errors, historical importance, elite condition, or famous auction records can sometimes command astonishing prices. But those records usually involve specific, authenticated coins, not every coin with the same date. Think of it like a baseball card. Having the same player's name doesn't mean every card is worth thousands. Condition, rarity, printing differences, authenticity, and demand can completely change the value. The same principle applies here. Now imagine 2 2009 D pennies sitting side by side. They look almost identical. One is heavily worn, scratched, and discolored. The other has crisp details, strong luster, and unusually clean surfaces. Suddenly, the second coin becomes much more interesting to collectors. Condition can make an enormous difference. But there is another twist. Proof like appearance, exceptional preservation, or an unusual mint error can attract attention. However, collectors and professional graders want more than a good story. They want verification. That means if you think you've discovered something extraordinary, don't clean the coin. People ruin potentially valuable coins by polishing them. Cleaning can remove original surfaces and leave microscopic scratches that collectors notice immediately. A shiny coin isn't necessarily a valuable coin. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and compare it with trusted references or have a reputable grading service examine it if the evidence is strong. Now let's return to the mystery. Why does a tiny d matter? Mint marks can identify where a coin was produced, and collectors often study coins from different mints for differences in scarcity, varieties, errors, and condition. But the mint mark is only one clue. Date, mint mark, reverse design, condition, strike, possible error, authenticity. All of these clues work together. And here's another quick test. Look at the date. Are the numbers normal? Check the letters. Do they appear doubled in a way that looks like a genuine striking anomaly, or do they simply look blurry because of wear? Look at Lincoln. Are there unusual raised areas, missing details, or shapes that don't match normal examples? Then flip the coin. Study the reverse carefully. Remember, 2009 has 4 different designs, so don't assume every 2009 cent should look the same on the back. A design difference, worn area, scratch, or strange appearance isn't automatically an error or rarity. The difference between an interesting coin and a valuable coin is often documentation. If a coin really appears to have an unusual mint-made error, take clear photographs, compare it with known examples, and consider professional authentication. That can prevent a costly mistake. Now let's talk about value. If your 2009 D penny is a normal circulated example, you're generally looking at little more than face value. An uncirculated example may be worth more depending on grade and demand. So where does the excitement come from? The possibility of a genuinely unusual specimen. A certified coin with a significant mint error or exceptional grade can be far more desirable than an ordinary example. But the exact value depends on what makes the coin special, how rare that feature really is, its condition, certification, and what collectors are willing to pay at that moment. And that is why I would never tell you that every 2009 D penny is worth $1 million. That claim could cause you to waste your time or worse, pay too much for a common coin. The smarter approach is to search for evidence. Imagine you find a 2009 D cent that looks dramatically different from every other penny you've seen. You photograph it. You compare it with reference examples. You discover the difference appears to have happened during minting, not afterward. Then you have something worth investigating. That's the moment the story changes. Because you're no longer asking, is this penny worth $1 million? You're asking the much better question, what exactly is this coin? And that question can lead you down a fascinating path through minting technology, coin errors, grading, auctions, and American history. So check your jars. Check old rolls. Check inherited collections. Check the forgotten change sitting in a drawer. But don't check with dollar signs in your eyes. Check like a detective. Look at the date. Find the D. Identify the reverse design. Inspect the strike. Study the surfaces. Look for legitimate abnormalities. And most importantly, don't clean it. If you discover something genuinely unusual, get a second opinion before assuming you've struck gold. Because the real lesson of the 2009 D Lincoln penny isn't that every coin can make you a millionaire. It's that extraordinary value can sometimes hide inside an ordinary object, but only when rarity, condition, and authenticity come together. So now I'm curious. Do you have a 2009 D penny? Take it out and look at the reverse. Which Lincoln design do you see? And does anything about the coin look different from a normal penny? Leave your answer in the comments because you might be holding a coin that's much more interesting than it first appears. And remember, the next valuable coin may not be locked inside a museum or hidden in an old treasure chest. It could be sitting at the bottom of your change jar right now. Keep looking, keep learning, and before you spend that old penny, check it twice. Subscribe for more rare coin mysteries, hidden varieties, and the fascinating stories behind America's pocket change. Imagine finding a 2013 Lincoln penny in your change and discovering that tiny 1-cent coin could be connected to a mistake collectors have been searching for. Before you spend it, look closely. because the smallest details on a modern penny can sometimes make a huge difference. Today, we're taking a close look at the 2013 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. You might think there is nothing special about a coin this recent. After all, millions were made. But there is a mystery hiding in the phrase, no mint mark, and understanding that mystery could save you from overlooking a valuable error. First, let's clear up one important point. A 2013 penny without a mint mark is not automatically $1 million coin. In fact, the absence of a mint mark on a normal 2013 Lincoln cent generally indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. That is completely normal. So why are people talking about enormous values? Because rare coin stories often begin with a normal-looking coin and end with an unusual error, extraordinary condition, or a misunderstanding about what actually makes a coin valuable. And that is exactly where you need to pay attention. Picture yourself standing at a checkout counter. You receive a handful of change, glance down, and notice a shiny penny dated 2013. You see Lincoln on the front. You see Liberty. You see "In God We Trust." Then your eyes move toward the date and the area beneath it. There is no D. There is no other mint letter. Just blank space. At first, that might look suspicious. But don't put the penny aside yet. A no-mint mark 2013 cent can be perfectly legitimate. The Philadelphia Mint did not place a P-mint mark on ordinary Lincoln cents, so a 2013 cent without a mint mark is exactly what you would expect from Philadelphia production. Here's the first mistake people make. They assume that no mint mark means rare. It doesn't. The real question is, what else is different about this coin? That one question can change everything. The 2013 Lincoln cent is part of the modern Lincoln series that continues the historic design first introduced in 1909. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse carries the Union Shield design used on cents beginning in 2010. The coin has a face value of 1 cent and, under normal circumstances, a common 2013 cent is worth around face value when circulated. But collectors do not always care about face value. They care about condition, errors, varieties, and coins that stand out from ordinary examples. Now look at your penny again. Is Lincoln's portrait sharply struck? Are the letters crisp? Does the surface have unusual doubling? Are any letters or numbers distorted? Does the edge look normal? Does the coin appear to have been damaged after leaving the mint? Don't rush this part. A genuine mint error is fundamentally different from damage that happened after the coin entered circulation. For example, a penny might have scratches, dents, discoloration, or flattened areas because it spent years moving through machines, pockets, cash registers, and roads. Those marks can look dramatic, but dramatic does not automatically mean valuable. A true error is different. It happens during the manufacturing process at the mint. And sometimes those mistakes create the kind of coins collectors remember. Think about a coin with a striking error on the date, lettering, design, or planchet. If the error is genuine, identifiable, and desirable, collectors may pay far more than 1 cent. But there is another twist. Rarity alone is not enough. Collectors also want authenticity and strong condition. This is where many people get confused. They search online and see a headline claiming a modern penny is worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars. Then they find a similar-looking coin in their drawer and assume they have hit the jackpot. That is dangerous. A reported asking price is not the same as a confirmed auction sale. A sensational listing is not proof that a coin is worth that amount. And a damaged penny is not suddenly a rare error because someone uploaded a photograph and gave it an enormous price tag. So, what should you actually look for on a 2013 no mint mark penny? Start with the date. Make sure the 2, 0, 1, and 3 are clearly formed. Check for unusual doubling or distortion. Then inspect Liberty and "In God We Trust." Look closely at the lettering rather than simply staring at the whole coin. Small differences can be difficult to see with the naked eye. Next, turn the coin over. The 2013 reverse should show the Union Shield beneath the denomination 1 cent. Look at the lettering, the shield, and the date-free reverse design. Watch for anything that appears doubled, missing, sharply misplaced, or dramatically different from another 2013 penny. And here's a simple trick. If you think you found something unusual, compare it with another 2013 Philadelphia cent. Place the coins side by side under good lighting. You are not looking for scratches. You are looking for a repeatable design difference. If the difference disappears when the light changes, be cautious. If the difference looks like a scrape, gouge, or flattened metal, be cautious. If it appears to be part of the original striking process, then you may have something worth investigating. Now comes the question everyone wants answered. Could a 2013 no-mint mark penny really make you a millionaire? For an ordinary example, no. There is no solid reason to claim that a normal 2013 Philadelphia cent is worth $1 million simply because it has no mint mark. If you see a video, advertisement, or online listing making that claim, treat it as a claim that needs evidence. But here's the exciting part. A modern penny can still become interesting when it contains a rare, authenticated mint error or exceptional condition. The value depends on exactly what the coin is, how rare the feature is, how well preserved it is, and what qualified collectors are actually willing to pay. That's why you should never judge a coin from the date alone. And don't clean it. This is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. They find an old-looking penny, grab a cloth or household cleaner, and try to make it shiny. Unfortunately, cleaning can remove the original surface and reduce collector appeal. If you believe you have found an unusual coin, leave it alone. Handle it carefully by the edges and consider having it examined by a reputable coin professional or grading service. Now let's imagine the best-case scenario. You find a 2013 no-mint mark cent that looks ordinary at first. But under magnification, you notice something unusual on the lettering. You compare it with several other 2013 cents. The feature remains consistent. It doesn't look like a scratch. It appears connected to the strike. Suddenly, your 1-cent coin has a mystery. And mysteries are where collectors start asking questions. Was the die damaged? Was there doubling? Was the planchet abnormal? Was the coin struck incorrectly? Was the feature created at the mint, or did it happen later? Those questions matter far more than a flashy price printed beside a photograph online. Because when serious money is involved, evidence matters. A coin's value is not created by a headline. It is created by rarity, demand, condition, authenticity, and the marketplace. So let's talk about condition. Imagine two identical 2013 pennies. One has been circulating for years. It has scratches, marks, dull surfaces, and worn details. The other has sharp design features and a clean, original appearance because it was carefully preserved. Even if both coins are the same date and mint origin, collectors may view them very differently. This is why professional grading can sometimes matter. A grading service can authenticate a coin, assign a condition grade, and provide a standardized description. That does not guarantee a huge price, but it can give buyers and sellers confidence when the coin is genuinely rare. And here's another pattern interrupt. Your penny does not have to look ancient to be interesting. That surprises a lot of people. Collectors often associate valuable coins with dates from the 1800s or early 1900s. But modern coins can also contain mistakes. The difference is that you have to know what you are looking at. So, before you throw your 2013 penny into a jar, take 10 seconds. Check the mint mark area. Check the date. Check the lettering. Check the portrait. Check the reverse. Then compare. 10 seconds could turn an ordinary coin hunt into a learning experience, and occasionally a genuine discovery. Now take 10 seconds and inspect yours. Check the date, lettering, portrait, shield, and surface. Compare it with another 2013 penny. If something truly looks different, don't clean it or sell it immediately. Get a second opinion from a reputable numismatist. Remember, a missing mint mark on a 2013 penny is normal, not $1 million guarantee. Opportunity is learning to spot genuine errors and exceptional coins that other people overlook. Check your change, your jars, and keep looking. Your next discovery might be ordinary, or it might be the coin you almost spent for 1 cent. Subscribe for more coin secrets today. What if the ordinary 2014 D Lincoln penny sitting in your change jar right now is hiding a mistake that collectors would actually pay serious money to own? Before you spend another one, look closely at that tiny D mint mark, because one unusual detail could turn an ordinary penny into a collector's discovery. And yes, you've probably seen claims that a 2014 D penny could be worth $1 million. But here's the part most videos won't tell you. The real story is much more interesting. Today, we're going to examine the 2014 D Lincoln penny from every angle, including what makes one valuable, which errors you should watch for, why condition matters, and where the million-dollar claim comes from. Because there is a huge difference between an ordinary 2014 D penny and an extraordinary one. And if you have a handful of these coins at home, you may already have the perfect reason to start checking. The 2014 D Lincoln cent was struck at the Denver Mint and carries the familiar Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse. It is made primarily of copper-plated zinc, weighs about 2.5 grams, and measures about 19 millimeters across. At first glance, there is nothing especially mysterious about it. But that is exactly why this coin can be easy to overlook. Think about what happens when you receive a penny in your change. You see the date, maybe notice the D, and then toss it into a jar. You probably never inspect Lincoln's portrait under a bright light. You probably never examine the lettering with a magnifying glass. And you almost certainly don't look at the edge. Collectors do. And sometimes that extra 10 seconds makes all the difference. The first thing to understand is that the date alone does not make a 2014 D penny worth a fortune. Millions of ordinary examples were produced, so a normal circulated coin is generally worth around its face value. Even a shiny example is not automatically a million-dollar treasure. So why do people keep talking about huge values? Errors. A genuine mint error can transform a common coin into something much more interesting. And the most exciting possibilities are not always obvious when you're holding the coin in your hand. Imagine finding a penny where part of the design appears doubled. Or a coin with an unusual strike that causes letters or numbers to look distorted. Maybe the copper-colored surface is missing in an unexpected area. Perhaps the coin has an abnormal shape because something went wrong during production. That is when the investigation begins. But here's a warning that could save you from making a costly mistake. Not every strange-looking penny is an error. This is where many people get confused. Coins are exposed to years of handling, machines, chemicals, moisture, heat, scratches, and damage. A penny can become discolored, flattened, scratched, or distorted after leaving the mint. Those conditions may make the coin look unusual, but they usually don't make it valuable. A real mint error happens during manufacturing. That distinction is critical. For example, if the lettering looks doubled, you shouldn't immediately assume you've discovered a rare double die. Machine doubling, damage, and lighting can create appearances that fool even inexperienced collectors. So don't celebrate yet. Look again. Use good lighting. Rotate the coin slowly. Compare it with another 2014 D penny if possible. Examine the date, mint mark, lettering, Lincoln's portrait, and the rim. You're looking for something that appears genuinely abnormal and consistent with a minting mistake. And there is another detail many people ignore. Condition. A coin that spent 10 years bouncing around inside pockets, cash registers, and car cup holders is very different from a coin that was carefully preserved from the beginning. Think about it like this. If two identical coins have the same error, but one is heavily scratched and worn while the other has sharp details and almost no signs of circulation, collectors may value them very differently. That's why professional grading can become important when a coin appears genuinely unusual. A reputable grading service can authenticate the coin, evaluate its condition, and assign a grade. That matters because the rare coin market depends heavily on authenticity and documented condition. But before you spend money sending every penny you own to a grading company, stop. Most 2014 D pennies are not rare. You want evidence first. Now let's talk about the million-dollar claim. Could an ordinary 2014 D penny simply be worth $1 million because it has a D mint mark? No. There is no sound basis for saying that every 2014 D Lincoln cent is a million-dollar coin. The internet is full of exaggerated coin values, misleading headlines, and videos that turn a theoretical possibility into a guaranteed fortune. And that can be dangerous for collectors. The real opportunity is not believing every unbelievable price. The real opportunity is learning how to recognize something genuinely unusual. A spectacular mint error on a modern coin can attract serious collector attention, especially if the error is dramatic, rare, authentic, and well-documented. But the final value depends on the exact error, rarity, condition, demand, and what buyers are actually willing to pay. That last part is important. A price mentioned online is not automatically the same thing as a completed sale. If someone claims a penny is worth $1 million, ask a simple question. Where is the documented transaction showing that amount was actually paid for that exact coin? That question instantly separates exciting possibilities from internet hype. And here's where your own coin collection becomes interesting. Take out a 2014 D penny. Don't look at it for 1 second and put it away. Spend 30 seconds with it. Start with the date. Are the digits shaped normally? Do they show unusual doubling? Does anything look strangely separated or distorted? Now move to the D mint mark. Is it clearly struck into the coin? Does it appear normal compared with another 2014 D cent? Remember, the mint mark by itself isn't what creates a fortune. Next, examine Lincoln. Look closely around the hair, ear, jaw, and other high detail areas. Then inspect the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Now flip the coin. Look carefully at 1 cent and United States of America. Examine the Lincoln Memorial, the columns, the lettering, and the rim. And don't forget the edge. A genuine minting anomaly can sometimes become much easier to understand when you inspect the entire coin rather than staring at one tiny mark. Here's another pattern interrupt. Grab a second 2014 D penny. Now compare them side by side. Suddenly, differences that seemed invisible become much easier to notice. That's one of the simplest tricks collectors use. Comparison. If one coin looks strange but 10 others look exactly the same, you may simply be seeing normal design characteristics. But if one coin clearly has something different, that's when you have a reason to investigate further. Still, don't clean it. This mistake can destroy potential collector value. People sometimes polish an old or unusual coin because they think making it shiny will make it worth more. In reality, cleaning can leave scratches, remove original surfaces, and reduce desirability. If you think you've discovered an important error, leave the coin exactly as you found it. Put it somewhere safe. Then research the specific feature and consider getting professional opinions. And now comes the biggest mystery. What would a truly extraordinary 2014 D penny be worth? There is no single answer. A normal circulated example is generally worth only a cent. A better preserved example might have a small premium depending on condition and collector demand. A legitimate, rare mint error can be worth substantially more. But a specific $1 million valuation would require extraordinary evidence, rarity, authentication, and a willing buyer. So if you're holding a regular 2014 D penny, don't expect $1 million. But if you're holding a confirmed major error, everything changes. That's the difference between fantasy and numismatics. And honestly, that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You don't need every penny to be valuable. You only need to recognize the unusual one. Think about the thousands of people who handle coins every day without ever examining them. A strange coin can pass through countless hands simply because nobody stops to look. Maybe the next person who notices it is you. So check your change jar. Check old coin rolls. Check drawers, desk containers, and collections that have been sitting untouched for years. But check them with realistic expectations. The goal isn't to believe that every 2014 D penny is secretly worth a fortune. The goal is to learn enough to know when something deserves a second look. And if you find a coin that looks dramatically different from normal examples, don't rush to sell it based on a random internet price. Photograph it, compare it with known examples, protect it from damage, and seek an experienced numismatist or professional grading service. Because the most valuable lesson here isn't that one ordinary penny will make you a millionaire. It's that knowledge can turn something people ignore into something worth investigating. So, now I want to know, do you have a 2014 D Lincoln penny in your collection? Take a close look at it today. Check the date. Check the D, check Lincoln. Check the reverse. Check the rim. And most importantly, look for something genuinely different. You might discover nothing more than a 1-cent coin. Or you might discover an unusual mint error hiding in plain sight. Either way, you won't look at your pocket change the same way again. And remember, the next valuable coin isn't always hiding in an antique collection or behind a glass case at an auction. Sometimes, it's sitting quietly at the bottom of a change jar, waiting for someone curious enough to pick it up. If you enjoy uncovering hidden coin values, rare mint errors, and the fascinating stories behind America's pocket change, subscribe and keep checking your coins. Because that ordinary penny you're about to spend? Take one more look. You never know what the mint accidentally put into it.